Welcome to Fantasy Sports Addicts Anonymous. My name is Tom.
Hot sticky buns.
It's Hot Sticky Buns Tom. All right. Can you introduce yourself, Ryan?
I'm Ryan, and I'm a fantasy sports addict.
Who's SMHing?
Hardcore SMH.
Hardcore hashtag SMH. We're here today, woo, fantasy talk about hostility. No, that's actually going to be the next, that'll be part 2 of the Fallout video. Let's just preview it now. It's coming. But today, actually, we're talking, what?
NBA.
This is really, really exciting. I am, I'm going to put down the hostility for a second. Let's turn off the red light.
Red light's off.
Red light's off, and I'm hyped up. I'm just, woo! Hyped up and fired up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo!
It's basketball season. I mean, it's not, but we're going to say it is.
It's still way early, but we couldn't wait because we're just that goddamn excited.
It's getting close. I mean, you know, football, you probably got a few drafts under your belt. Like, you know, it's time to start thinking about NBA maybe. You know, if you're just now getting into football, you probably think we're fucking nuts, and we are. But if you are on a year-round fantasy sports cycle like we do, and we are, you're probably like kind of thinking basketball yourself. Like Joe, the angriest Mets fan on the planet, he's been thinking basketball all summer. He's a big Duke fan, and you know he's all excited about our dynasty leagues. Oh, am I gonna get?
I'm all excited about him.
Well, yeah, I mean it's hard not to be, but so we're talking 2016 NBA. What is this? A forecast, an outlook, a crash course? What are we fucking doing here?
No, we're focusing on the off season.
Okay, so we're just gonna.
So we're talking about the rookies and the draft, and then all the big free agent fantasy relevant moves. Like,
okay, stuff that you should pay attention to or think about, maybe.
You know, you weren't paying attention because you're too busy in your football leagues or baseball leagues, and
or you were busy.
You may have missed some of these like minor, or lesser, not the big ticket item free agents, but some useful players going to different situations.
All right, so maybe we can get you caught up on 2016 NBA stuff. But first, before we do that,
question and answer.
All right, my
Q&A.
My new favorite part of the show here. I just love Q&A because I love A-ing some Q's.
I think we needed to get that kazoo.
Yeah.
A little different than a bell.
Maybe we need like 2 kazoos. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, all right, next time you hear us, instead of a sex bell, we're going to have a kazoo. Okay. We'll have 2 kazoos.
All right, let's go to the Q&A. All right.
The kazoo and A.
This first question comes from Steve.
All right, Steve.
And he wants to know where should Paul George be drafted?
In the past, recently, what, first round? Well, I don't think he'll go a whole lot further than that, personally. I mean, get him as late as you can, I guess, to maximize the value. But I really, myself, I'm guessing he doesn't leave first. Like, all right, so you're picking at the end of the first round in most, 12, 14-man kind of leagues. Your options are probably like Aldridge or like
Aldridge,
right?
Love, Melo, Kyrie.
If Paul George is still there, skip the rest of that shit and get Paul George, if you ask me. I don't know.
I think I'd probably feel comfortable taking Paul George in the early second round, probably somewhere around 14, 15.
So like a rat pick.
Just because there's still some risk to him, but the upside is there, and I'm confident he'll be back. And Indiana's talking about playing him at power forward, maybe even going small.
Okay, I don't think there's that much risk. I mean, the injury he had doesn't affect his game.
Well, obviously, if you've taken someone in the top 15 picks, like, you're not that scared of risk.
I think I'd still take him top 10.
Okay.
Myself, but let's see where the experts have him. I'm curious. Actually, that's a pretty good question. Thank you, Esteban, Steve.
Yes, and our second question comes from LeBron's Dong.
Did you read that right?
LeBron's Dong.
All right, LeBron's Dong. What does LeBron's Dong have for us?
I guess it's kind of fitting that he would ask this question because he's asking about Kevin Love.
Wow, this is social media. This is how it happens, I guess. All right, LeBron's Dong. What's LeBron's Dong asking?
He just wants to know what Kevin Love's value is next year now that he re-signed with the Cavs long term.
Well, what about you? You go first, because You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm not top 10, top 15 high on him, but again, I put him somewhere right around Paul George.
Okay.
So that end of first through the second round, anything later than that, there's no way he should still be there. And depending on my team and where I was in the draft and whether it's dynasty, roto, keeper, all kind of goes into effect. But yeah, I'd probably take him between, 12 and 16, 18, 12 and 16. But at the same time, I would specifically be trying to build my team in a certain way. Okay, I got a center / power forward that can shoot threes and hit his free throws. I'm going to try to complement him with the other turn with like a Serge Ibaka or another player that can hit his free throws and kind of maximize the strengths of drafting a Kevin Love.
See, for me, I'm going to be honest. I'm not touching Kevin Love with a 10-foot pole personally. I never have and I never will. It's just not my kind of guy, not my kind of player. And if you like Love, that's on you. You got to go with a specific strategy, I think, like you were saying, when you do draft a Kevin Love. All right, so he was about like, let's say he was just under like averaging 17 and 10 last year. That's pretty good, I guess. I don't know.
20 and 10 players go in the first round. And
okay,
he's just a slight below that, but he gets a bump because of his free throw percentages and rebounds and three-pointers.
The way Cleveland's offense seemed to go last year, I mean, it was kind of like he was either on or off, and maybe that kind of applied to all those guys, but I want a little more stability. I mean, you talked about how many games over 15 rebounds he had. It was 9, I think, we counted. He averaged less than 10.
Barely.
Yeah, I guess. But the down games, I don't know. He's not in a system that maximizes his talents.
There was a learning curve, and I just have enough faith that LeBron James would do what's best for the team and put him in a situation that maximizes his talent because he's an elite talent, and you'd be stupid if you didn't try to take advantage of having a Kevin Love on your roster.
Is LeBron's dong coaching the Cavaliers now? Is that what's up?
No, LeBron's dong doesn't like Love. They're not friends.
Okay, I don't feel like they're. LeBron I like on my teams. LeBron's dong I like on my teams. Kevin Love, I personally don't like on my teams. So where you're drafting Kevin Love, as much as like maybe LaMarcus Aldridge takes a dip this year, I probably look more at Aldridge. I don't know.
I put them back to back, right next to each other.
All right, well,
Paul George, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kevin Love, all right in that mid-second round.
All right, I'd take
mid-early.
I'd take Paul George immediately over Kevin Love.
I would take PG over Love personally too.
All right,
but they're close.
All right, so any more?
So thanks, LeBron's dong, for that question.
And thanks for showing up on ABC in May. That was awesome.
Howdy.
Great TV.
All right, so this is actually another question we have from our good friend Alfred Newman.
Again?
This
guy. Oh wait, is it gonna be like a 15-part question?
No, this one's it's a good question, but it's pretty easy, or not easy, but basic.
All right, Alfie, baby, lay it on me.
He just wants to know which player makes the biggest jump. Like, what player is that breakout player, best return on investment, sleeper, whatever.
Biggest jump of all. Yeah. Is Jabari Parker going to start the season healthy? Do we know this for a fact? Is he back immediately, 100%?
I think at best he'd still have some rust to shake off and still have that rookie learning curve and possibility of a rookie wall.
Well, but the time that injury occurred, he was kind of on the upward swing, kind of finding a groove. I like Jabari Parker maybe, but I don't know.
I still think Jabari Parker is going to be ranked really high to where
so he's not necessarily
going to be able to outperform his value as much as some of these other players.
Who do you like? Do you have any candidates yourselves?
Again, a lot of this kind of really depends on the rankings. They still should be ranked relatively high.
Okay.
But Rudy Gobert or Hassan Whiteside.
Gobert's going to be like top 25.
And I still think that's good value for what he can do.
Right.
Again, I'm that high on him.
Well, then you made me feel funny about my Parker pick.
Again,
Gobert's going to be ranked higher than Parker.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of depends on how aggressively they're ranked.
All right.
Whiteside might be ranked a little lower, but I think he's going to be good. Again, kind of keeping with the theme, another player that I think is going to be deeper and be one of those glue guys that's great to have on your roster is Al-Farouq Aminu going over to Portland. Because I don't think he's going to be ranked that high, and he has a good chance to
be overlooked, especially with the I mean, again, he's a guy you maybe know for like defensive specialism and stuff like that. Like when you got probably a deeper league usually if you got Aminu, but like he's kind of like you said a glue guy, right? But now he's going to be in a position of possibly offense. You think?
Just by default, because Portland got rid of so many of their players that there's a lot of points left on the table, and I just think by default with his contract, he's going to be asked to do more than he ever has.
All right, I'm not gonna go with Jabari Parker. Ben McLemore. I've had him 2 years now. Dynasty scenario. It seems like he's about due. It's he can handle the scoring. He can shoot threes. He's got good percentages. If only there's a guy making it all happen. I think you like the guy making it happen now in Sacramento.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. Like Rajon Rondo, if he can kind of facilitate that and put the ball in Ben McLemore's hands in scoring position,
right?
He might make that leap for sure. And I don't think he's going to be going anywhere in the top 100. But he did show more than just glimpses of what his potential and what he can do.
Seems like a really good shooter to me. I like myself a little bit of Ben McLemore. That's me.
Okay, well, thank you, Alfred Newman, for following up.
Thanks for coming back. Yeah,
definitely.
Woo! Alfie. All right, so put away the kazoo and A.
Yep.
And let's get back to what we're talking about, which we were already still talking about, is 2016 NBA. We've got some off-season things that happened, mostly in the way of free agents that shuffled around to different teams. You probably didn't pay attention to every last signing and all that, and to be honest, we didn't either. But there's a few fantasy relevant ones we could probably highlight.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should because it's easy to miss some of these not quite big name free agents, but still have a lot of fantasy relevance. And some players' value goes up, some players goes down, just based on the teams that they went to and signed with.
The biggest I think free agent was LaMarcus Aldridge.
Hands down, he was the big name, big ticket. Everybody wanted him.
Obviously, Suns were runners up. That's too bad for us in Arizona. Wah wah. Always sucks losing to the Spurs in anything, but
again and again,
always
bastards.
So they got Aldridge and they got David West, and still got old man Duncan over there, but Aldridge takes a little bit of a dive, maybe value-wise, you think?
Again, I think he goes from being a late first round to an early second, so nothing drastic, but you always got to be worried about Greg Popovich resting his players down the stretch.
See, I thought that was why they brought him in, so they could rest all their other guys.
They rest everybody, especially when they got nothing to play for and they don't care about seeding. Once they're comfortable in the playoffs and playing good together, they'll coast into the playoffs for sure.
Okay, all right. I don't know if this guy was made. Well, I wouldn't say he was the next good option. Greg Monroe going to the Bucks. He's not a guy I like personally.
Depends on where he gets them and possibility runs. I'm probably higher on Monroe than you are. Again, I like the Bucks a lot, and they need a center. Larry Sanders is a head case, and it's not going to be playing. Zaza Pachulia.
Did he retire? I thought he retired or ran home or whatnot.
Whatever, yeah.
Okay, so Greg Monroe, Bucks. Yeah.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Like, it's a safe pick.
It's not sexy, I guess. That's for goddamn
But
sure.
again, his value was pretty much the same as it was when he was with Detroit. I almost say maybe a little bit better just because
Yeah, it has to go
Jason
up a
Kidd's
little.
the coach, and he knows how to get players the ball where they can score.
Damari Carroll going to Toronto. It's probably a boost to his value because there's not much around him.
Toronto's a damn good team.
Scoring in threes.
I mean, Kyle Lowry's underrated for sure.
Yeah.
They got, Jonas Vu, the Big V.
Oh, yeah. Vacuum cleaner salesman, I think is his last name. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jonas. His name is Jonas.
Valanciunas.
Yeah. The dude from Toronto who is a center, that guy. But his name is Jonas, like the Weezer song. Let's just call him his name is Jonas.
Okay. Well, Toronto has a lot, and, DeMar Carroll, like, he's another one of those glue guys, and pretty...
Threes, though. Threes.
He will get you threes, for sure.
Scoring in threes, I think is just no scoring. Yeah, all right. So
A little bit of everything.
he might be a good option, actually. I don't know.
I like him, and I'll probably be targeting him in the later rounds or mid rounds.
Okay, all right. Dallas did some. They made a few interesting moves. I really like Wes Matthews. I like him going to Dallas. I can live with that. Of course, Darren Williams also.
I think D. Will really needed a change of scenery.
Yeah,
this wasn't working out for him in Brooklyn.
This just has to boost his value. I mean, he's been like sliding for a while.
And really, like that pick and pop with him and Dirk can be deadly.
Yeah, he's going where he's comfortable. Plus, again, he's going to have another weapon with Wes Matthews. That's all right. So D. Will takes a bump in value. Wes Matthews probably stays about the same, right?
Again, I think he might even go up a little bit. I mean, I don't think actually his situation is all that different than it was in Portland.
Right.
You got a good point guard, a power forward that can score, and he's just there to kind of space and hit threes and do what he can.
You used to like Roy Hibbert. He went to the Lakers.
I like him a lot better now that he actually has moved. I think he needed to get out of Indiana. I think there's some locker room chemistry issues that really just
locker room chemistry issues that fucked him up. You mean somebody fucking his fiance that played on the same team that he did, according to the internet?
Allegedly.
Allegedly, according to the internet.
Yeah, so I think a change of scenery is good for him. And LA, they're just going to ask him to rebound and play defense.
All right. Monte Ellis going to Indiana.
We kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier about Indiana kind of going small and wanting to really push the tempo, which is part of why they brought in Monte.
Yeah.
I think this could actually be a good situation for him. But let's be honest, Monte, his value hasn't really changed regardless of what team he's been on.
It's gone up a few times, but it's always sort of been that mid
Nothing
40,
sexy,
50,
fourth, fifth round.
I think he's gone as high as like maybe second round a few times, maybe.
Aggressively, but I never had him when he was that high.
So Monte, he's a nice point scoring option, gets you some assists and stuff and some steals, but I mean, he'll probably be about the same thing he's been all his whole career probably, right?
Yeah. Again, we kind of mentioned this next guy a little bit. Rajon Rondo to the Kings. I like this situation or Rondo's value. Again, a lot of it's going to be how him and George Karl coexist with Cousins, and it has potential to be a giant clusterfuck that just fails upon liftoff.
It looks like literally like the Challenger space flight or something. It's that
But
bad.
it could be Apollo 13 where they duct tape it together and wrap around the moon and ride into the playoffs.
That's possible. No, it's not possible. If they're in the East, what am I saying? That's possible. It's not
That
possible.
eighth seed is possible. That eighth seed is wide open.
That's our eighth seed. That's the Suns' eighth seed.
Again, the Kings are in that discussion with the Suns. Speaking of the Suns, they got a few free agents that came into them.
All right, we applaud these selections for this team. I like this. We didn't get Aldridge, but I like the pairing we have here. This is nice.
I think they work well together.
All right, so A+ Suns GM and ownership.
Yeah. So we managed to get Tyson Chandler, which was a huge surprise. We didn't even know they were talking with him.
No.
And they used him to pitch to try to get LA, which almost worked. But after we didn't get LA, we brought in Mirza Teletovic.
Which Ryan and I love. He's a perfect fit
A lot
for
of
the
you
Suns.
guys might not really even know who he is. He had a little bit at the beginning of the year, really good success playing for Brooklyn, hitting threes. But I think he had a blood clot. He was one of the blood clot players last year.
Oh, the blood clots in the lungs or something?
Yeah, and so he ended
That's
up having
nasty.
to miss the rest of the year.
Yeah, you got to take a lot of blood thinners to get that shit cleared up.
So
Ooh.
we kind of got him for a pretty good deal, like $5 million a year.
Well, and again, perfect player for the Suns. He's like literally that classic Suns player. Just,
And you can't forget to mention the Markieff Morris fiasco.
Yeah,
Well, right now
almighty.
the Suns' starting power forward is already saying he is not going to be back next year and basically demanding a trade. He's going to be gone. He's ruining any value that we can get in return. So we're probably not going to get a power forward that's better than Teletovic. So
you know what we should trade him for? A penny.
a penny.
Yeah, ask the other team. We'll eat his salary. We literally trade Markieff Morris for 1 cent, a penny. The most insulting trade to a player of all time. 1 red cent.
I don't know. I kind of like just working a deal out with Detroit and pairing the Twins back up together and let them ruin their team. Anyways, this next player wasn't really a good fit in Los Angeles and lost his starting job. Jeremy Lin.
To a second-round pick.
How long ago was it? Linsanity and all the craze and Houston and
You went Lindsay.
LA.
I think, didn't you have a parade float in the Linsanity parade? Like, I thought you did.
Oh, I absolutely did. I've read his book.
He had a book? I didn't even know that. There's a book?
Oh, yeah, there's a book.
Did it come with like a couple of pictures of that couch that we keep hearing about?
Yeah.
All right, good. At least there's a picture of the couch.
But again, he's going to Charlotte. Granted, they have Kemba Walker. Lynn's trying to refine his value and put in the right situation and tempo. Like, he can be a good player. Like, he's not going to necessarily win you any fantasy leagues. But maybe Charlotte struck lightning in a bottle with Linsanity!
I mean, if nothing else, can't you just be excited for a guy that, like, I mean, you turned nothing into this much. Like, your career, you played in New York, there was Linsanity. You went to LA and got to play alongside Kobe. Maybe it didn't work out for the best, but here you are, another team, still earning a great paycheck. Linsanity lives, baby. So, like, if nothing else, you gotta feel good for the guy. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. They should make it into a movie or something, and they probably will.
I'm sure. This next guy, maybe he has a little bit of a resurgent.
Who?
Josh Smith going to the Clippers.
I like the idea of a kind of defensive pairing with him and DeAndre. You know, it's funny. I mean, all right. So whenever I think DeAndre now, I can only picture that meme. It's like DeAndre's head, and he's like Grandpa Simpson, and he's doing the like, "Hello, Bart. Goodbye, Bart." Whatever on the way out the door, like.
But it had the picture of Cubans.
Yeah, Mark Cuban and DeAndre Jordan in the meme. That to me, like, that's the funniest thing of this whole summer. Personally, I don't know, but like. DeAndre, Josh Smith, kind of flighty, defensive-oriented characters. They might pair well. Like,
and then you got JJ, CP3, and Blake to handle the offense.
that's a team
And then
of.
Paul Pierce, who's also another free agent going there, coming off the bench.
Actually, that's a good team for LA. Drama Queens. No,
Yeah.
It should be in LA. All right, so yeah, all right, I'll buy Jay Smooth maybe.
So our next players, I mentioned him earlier, but Portland, again, big losers in the offseason, lost a lot of players.
Yeah, they took it the shorts.
Al-Farouq Aminu and Gerald Henderson both signing in Portland.
Portland's a situation where the door's wide open for everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot of points being left on the table, and we'll see what happens, who picks them up, who carves out a major role.
All right, yeah, so what is it? Did we skip anybody?
Nah, nobody.
No, wait.
Robin Lopez going to the Knicks.
Okay.
Nothing sexy, but he gets you points, rebounds, good percentages, doesn't hurt you.
Clear minutes. So
Great body to have on your team.
yeah, maybe slight bump in value. All right, Robin Lopez to the Knicks. Speaking of carving out roles, I think, is it time to transition to my favorite subject of any day, of any league, of any sport? Now we're on to the rookies.
Go for it.
I'm going to take D'Angelo Russell. I always think I need to take a power forward or a center. I usually do. Last year, in the middle of the season, I was thinking I was taking Towns. I always, I kept saying, going to town, I'm going to Towns, right? Like, oh man, I like Karl Anthony Towns. And Jahlil Okafor, he's exciting. But my team, I need guards. And just generally speaking, immediate impact, immediate upside, superstar potential, off the charts. We're talking D'Angelo Russell for me.
Again, I don't see it so much this year just because point guard playing next to Kobe Bryant. He's going to dribble the ball up half court, pass the ball to Kobe, and get the fuck out of the way.
Not necessarily.
We'll see.
I think he's got more offensive game than Kobe's got left in the tank.
I disagree.
They're even aren't they talking about playing Kobe at like small forward too?
Yeah.
So I think that's how they're going to make that whole situation coexist. But if they are doing a point guard, shooting guard, small forward scenario like that, Kobe, you were an old man. You had a good career.
Now, do you think that Russell's going to be the top-ranked rookie going into next year?
I think maybe like you're saying, is there a question about opportunity? I personally say no in LA, but I could be wrong. The one dude with like really clear opportunity is Jahlil Okafor. You put him and Noel together, like they're opposite in a lot of ways. Like Noel, no offense, all defense, and vice versa. Like that's a really cool combo in a lot of ways. That could be cool.
And of course, Embiid is already out for the year, so that frees up quite a bit of minutes. And
right, there's literally nothing standing in Okafor's way, and he's known for scoring. That's one of the things that Philadelphia needs.
Well, I can say the same thing about Karl Anthony Towns, where Timberwolves are going to give him as much as he can handle right out of the gate.
Porzingis, you say more project. I think he's just sort of got nothing in his way.
Again, I think it's in the best interest of the Knicks to not give him more than he can handle. He's got to bulk up. The dude's a toothpick, and he'll get his friggin' ass handed to him.
Cauley Stein in Sacramento, if they in fact are playing Boogie at power forward and Cauley Stein's the center, I mean, he's one of the more mature players coming out of the draft. Like,
well, mature isn't being older.
Right. So he's had a little more time to season, and this is what the idea of staying in college was. I mean, this is like...
Well, he knew he wasn't ready at the time to go in, so he stayed.
He's probably more well-rounded. Cauley Stein, if he is starting, ooh, that could be an interesting pick. Do you have anybody that you're like, ooh? I mean, Moutier, what do you think about Moutier?
I was real high on Moutier all year and going into the draft, but I think Moutier has a lot of potential. I think going to China and playing over there was a maturation thing, and
that could have been a really smart move. It'll be interesting to see how he translates.
The Nuggets aren't doing anything. They're trying to sell everybody, and I think he has a lot of potential.
Who's your guy? You said you had a sleeper, a way deep. Yeah, I don't know. I might get him in the third round because I don't pick until the third round. Who's your guy?
I'm not.
Is it Turner?
I'm not even telling you.
Is it Turner?
I'm not telling you.
Is it Turner?
Again,
is it Turner?
This is that
it's Turner.
win at any cost. No, it's not Turner.
It's Turner. It's Turner, isn't it?
Yes.
At least we can agree on something. Miles Turner, he's a pretty interesting, like, rookie sleeper. Like, I mean, you kind of want to make sure you get him. There's really, literally nothing in a very small lineup. He's the biggest thing they got in Indiana, right?
Yeah, unquestioned playing time. They lost Hibbert, they lost West.
So defense, how is he not immediately going to make an impact? Now, assuming he can run correctly, that's always been the talk, right? Like, you got to think Miles Turner is a pretty awesome option, right? Like,
yeah, for deeper pick, absolutely.
Okay, now if you're in like a really deep dynasty or something like that, don't overlook Devin Booker.
You can't.
I was so thrilled as a Suns fan. I mean,
I think all the Suns fans are.
We were doing fucking cartwheels, let's be honest. He's really young, but this is a perfect situation for him to mature and step up and become a leader and become possibly a superstar. This could have been one of those steals of the draft kind of things, and that's not just being a homer. I feel pretty confident saying Booker's a pretty
He was
exciting.
a great pick.
Especially at 13, my God.
I just think he's a little too young, and year-to-year leagues, he's not going to have that immediate fantasy relevancy.
Yeah, barring a trade or some massive injury or like just a guy blows
Because
up or
the
something.
Suns have too much depth at those positions as it is.
Right, so but you look at them in your dynasties, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Outside of the lottery, is there anybody that you're kind of like, maybe? I mean, there's always a few guys.
I
let's
mean,
be
Larry
honest.
Nance Jr., just because, again, I kind of like players that have pedigree.
Okay.
I think he might be able to do something. And maybe Jerry and Grant.
All right.
I mean, John Wall kind of tends to get hurt.
Rondé Hollis-Jefferson, let's go back to the Portland thing. Portland, there's not a lot of,
I'd agree with that.
Hollis-Jefferson, he's kind of defensively oriented. He's probably got to grow into his body a bit like all these rookies do, but that's a guy, I don't know, again, deep dynasty, 14-man with a massive-ass bench. You might as well stash something with some upside. So
I mean, again, most of the guys outside of the lottery or these deeper picks aren't necessarily going to be drafted, but kind of keep an eye on them.
Yeah, you put them in your watch
attention.
list. You queue them up.
Yeah, because again, you might see that the playing time's about to open up, and you can do a 2-for-1 trade and have an open roster spot and slide them right in there.
There you go. We love sliding it right in, so we're going to slide right into the Fantasy Sports Serenity Prayer and wrap this podcast up, baby.
All right, thanks for joining us and listening. Give us some feedback, ask us some questions.
Yeah, get ready for the 2016 fantasy NBA season.
I know it's still early, but we're still excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I got first pick in the drafts first, so woo! All right, yay!
I don't pick in the first 2 rounds, but I'm still excited
because it's hoops, and we love our hoops. Honestly, we're going into fall. We're going to be playing 3 sports, maybe more. Like we got a little cricket to work on, and maybe some NASCAR and golf, and I mean, really, it's like it just never ends when you're a fantasy sports addict. So that's why you listen to us, Fantasy Sports Addicts Anonymous. The Serenity Prayer goes as follows. Ryan?
Please, thank you. Fantasy gods, please grant me the serenity to set my ideal lineups.
Okay.
The courage to add drop
aggressively.
And the wisdom,
as always,
to make good trades.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, Fantasy Sports Addicts Anonymous. Check us out on Twitter at letter F, letter S, the word double, letter A, at FSAA. That is also our Instagram, our Gmail, our G+, whatever the fuck that is. FantasySportsAddicts.com. Don't forget the website,
Of course not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sign up. Hoops, baby.